now you can't leave it on, you know, you're off. There's cameras all over the pitch, you know, I used to slide,
Really.
Do you ever regret to tackle yourself?
Oh, fucking hell. How long you got? How long you got? It's a phone, Bex. Bex, get us in this club, lad.
Today's episode was sponsored by That Prize Guy. Visit thatprizeguy.co.uk for all the prizes and information. Welcome to another episode of the Smith Brothers, not a podcast. Today we've got Liverpool legend, the main man, Steven Gerrard.
How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
All good, yeah, sound. All good.
Good to have you here. Who's going to start with the first question for him then?
This is grilling, innit? I feel like grilling.
I have got me. That was might to start with the first one. He's got a soft spot for Callum. I always wanted to go for Callum. See, I think Callum's the main man for some reason, doesn't he?
I always say if I'm going out to town, it's going to get a bit effy or a bit mucky, I'd rather Callum be with me than you. Only because of the weight.
I wish I'd have known that on a night out when I was strangling some fella for him, like, but yeah.
Your beard doesn't let you out anymore, does
This type of podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Little does he know, Callum's the one who'd run the other way.
What's your plans today? What have you been up to? You've been busy?
Busy-ish, loads of free time with the family, obviously with the granddaughter coming, so trying to be around Lily and Lee as much as we can. More Alex, obviously, because she knows what she's doing, but that's the reason why we've moved home.
Granddads, aren't you?
Oh, unbelievable.
Boss,
Unbelievable.
boss.
It's just the same buzz as when your own come, you know what I mean? So loads of that, and then sort of unofficially with BT doing the games, Champions League and Premier League, but they've been really helpful to me, saying I can obviously pick and choose my games at the moment because of me family situation, so trying to stay a little bit local with the Premier League games and then just the odd Champions League game here and there. And then endorsement stuff, a little bit in the Far East, meet and greets, that type of stuff, over to Ireland next week. So busy enough. Spoke to a couple of clubs in the meantime, just opportunities that have come on the phone, and unfortunately nothing there for me at the moment, but we'll see. I'm pretty comfortable and easy with that. I'm not looking for a job or steaming for a job. After the last two, I have to make sure that if I do it, it's the right one.
Is that going to make it easier for you, knowing that you're not desperate to jump straight in? Because you can obviously relax and pick the better job.
The way it is I sort of, I don't know the best way to describe it in my head, is I've obviously done really well at Rangers after I built a team there and ended up winning. That's a success, if you like. Jumped into the Premier League, and Villa started reasonably well, but obviously finished badly. Saw the opportunity come a little bit outside the box. When and obviously gone on that journey, I think that was okay. Not great, not bad, left on mutual terms. So I think the media perception of me as a coach and a manager now is the last two haven't been great compared to Rangers. So I think it's important that I don't just jump at any job, and I'm, wanting to jump in. I have to pick the right next album, movie, however you want to fucking call it.
Sport in general, and as you say, that, like music and films and that, it's sport in general. If you're perceived as not having a good performance in your last fight, you've got to pick your next one careful, and you can't be jumping into the easy one because people are fickle.
You're doing your last, aren't you?
There's a lot of I wouldn't say dangerous jobs out there, but there's a lot of really tough jobs.
Like the Everton one.
No, that doesn't even come into my thinking, obviously. I don't come into theirs either, but no, but like, just I think I suit a certain job. I need a passionate crowd. I need to try and feed off that, and something have to match my skill set, if you know what I mean. So I'm looking for the right match. Rangers was perfect.
I was just going to say, is that why you like Rangers
really
so much
close,
up there?
really close to going up there again. Just the timing and a few other situations that weren't aligned, but Rangers is my type of club. The fans, the passion, you can feed off it, and it certainly suits the way I go about it. But if something doesn't come, or something where I feel like I can compete for the prizes, I'm comfortable to do what I'm doing. I'm
half a jock as well.
Callum,
Your wife's from Glasgow.
Glasgow's brilliant.
That's our city, innit?
I loved it. I loved living up there.
I'm up there next weekend, to be fair.
Someone asked me once, who just got his team, Paul? I was like, I'm not really bothered, I don't really follow, but
you
probably
can't
being a
commit to
red,
one, yeah.
probably being a red, being a cat, I'd probably say Celtic, and I got abused.
Yeah, once you commit to one, that's it. Yeah.
I was Celtic until you managed Rangers, honestly, yeah.
I'd been to a couple of the derbies on each side, and I was very much like, wherever the tickets are, I'm going to go watch and blah, blah, blah. But then when the opportunity comes and that team wants you, and then you build a relationship and an affection with the fans.
It's like, Stuart Blue?
Everton fan?
As a kid,
no,
yeah.
No.
Cara was really, but obviously, like you say,
was
he, yeah.
But no.
Here's one for you, you were talking about, weren't you? So, without being like disrespectful towards where you're competitive as well and saying you need that thingy, like clubs you managed, so like Saudi, did it ever like frustrate you managing people you think like, I can put my boots on now and still be as good as all these, but better than all these?
When I went into the coaching, I sat down with Jurgen Klopp before I went in to coaching, and he said to me that's the biggest thing that he's seen with ex-players, where they sort of come, go, fail, and they get confused and all that, is still thinking you can be a player, or you make decisions on your career or how you felt as a player and stuff like that. It's a completely different job. You got to learn from the beginning. It was the reason why I went to the academy and tried to learn the whole thing of it. It's nothing really to do with being a top player or top career.
It's like a boxer, not doing it. A good boxer doesn't always make a good coach.
No chance, yeah.
Just going to say about him, he's more an established coach as I am. I've only just started out. He's established. He's got a chance to come a couple of good fighters who he's trained. The key, and someone said this to me once, you can't train them fighters as if they're you. I can't teach to talk to my fighters, and he can't talk to us the way I would talk to you. You just get it and you do it. Some of them will struggle and be a little bit behind on what the levels that you think.
I find that frustrating. If I was trying to teach someone and they couldn't get it, I think it would frustrate.
The biggest thing for me was, the important thing for me was to try and take the things that would be useful. So like your experience, your leadership skills, your one-to-one, your understanding. And I've been through the fucking highs in the game, and I've also been fucking under the tiles. So as dealing with players, what they're going through is probably somewhere in between the range of where I've been. So there's certain things that you can use as a player, but if you're going in thinking, he can't play like me, or he can't cross it like me, or blah, 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 you're going to be frustrated and falling out of place. And players don't deserve that. It's not their, your job is to try and get the best out of every single player.
One ceiling's different as well, and how good they are.
Give them a way of playing that makes you consistent. That's the
with four brothers sitting around the table. Our old amateur coach, Jimmy Albo, one of the best people we've ever met, obviously. He wouldn't treat him the way he'd treat me, and he wouldn't treat them the way he'd treat him. He needed treating differently, even though you're the same family. Should be technically the same temperament, but you're not. Like, some you've got to kick up the arse, some you've got to put your arm around, and that's probably obviously the same players, isn't it?
Exactly the same.
You can't coach them the same because they don't fight the same. Obviously, with footballers, they won't play football the same, but you've also got to treat them personally a bit different. Some people
do need to changed loads now as well. Like years ago, it was just all about coaching for the team coaching. As you go through the years of my career, it got broke down more unit coaching, and now it's a lot of individual stuff. Like, where does you need help is different to where you need help, you know what I mean? So it's trying to maximise the best out of every player. So there's a lot more that goes into it now than even back to when I first played.
Do you think it's harder nowadays for kids to come through in football with academies and that?
I think it's the same. I think if you're good enough, you'll get there. I think there's a lot more pressure around being a player now, a lot more social media, a lot more, everyone's got a microphone. We're here today, everyone's got an opinion and a voice. When I played, it was the Echo, the Daily Post was it every morning, and then you had your 4 or 5 main papers, and you used to look for your reports in there. Now you did, and
see what they said about it.
Sometimes a good weekend, sometimes
see what rating they give you.
I bet your mum's still got the same.
But now you put, you scroll through your Instagram and you've got John Jones from Wales with a mic slaughtering your ass. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to be protected from all that.
Do you think it's a lot more now with clubs sort of, say, investing or sort of buying, transferring, like trying to get kids in and foreign kids, a lot of...
I think clubs want to use the academy more now. Obviously, it's cheaper.
If they don't go younger, someone else will.
It's cheaper opportunity to make money. I think the big difference for me watching footy now is I'm not sure my style now is suited to the modern game.
I think a lot of interview and you were saying you think Scholes would and you wouldn't.
Yeah, because the game's very technical now. Like when we started, certainly in the early 2000s, going to Goodison, it would be all about the first physicality, leaving it on someone, quiet in the crowd. You know, now you can't leave it on anyone or you're off. There's cameras all over the pitch. You know, I used to be a sly fucker.
The early days you're watching, you used to always the game would start and use first challenges to nail the main man.
You know, the game's evolved now to, it's more academy based, like skills, turns and all this. And
even
blah,
a
blah,
good solid tackle now's a foul, isn't it?
Foul,
Seen one recently where he got the ball first.
Side foot tackle that everyone used to love that you wouldn't get sent off for.
You know, like Shearer, Rooney, you know, they were animals on the pitch. Like Shearer used to come in from the side, sharpen his elbows before games. He must have, because I felt a few of them. You know, it was a lot more physical years ago. So if I was coming in now into this Liverpool team, I would have to be better technically more tuned and less physical.
Would that just be
less aggressive?
Adapting though?
Yeah, you'd have to adapt.
You've got the ability
plus,
to do
plus
it.
my training coming through would look different. So Steve Highway, Hugh McCauley and Dave Shannon were us. Most of it was about like fucking win the battle first. And even if you don't play well, even if you don't play, he doesn't run faster than your harder, or he doesn't fucking beat you in any duels. That's a gimme.
A lot of that's missing in boxing now. You see kids and they're talented and they're gifted, and they haven't got that. You're not fucking beating me here, and that fight and that determination. Where you can win a fight, without having the ability of someone that you fight.
It's like what they say about that. If you haven't got that, you can't teach that.
And every time my form dipped, it wasn't necessarily technical ability that got me form back. It was about going where it hurts, like just trying to outrun someone, more runs into the box, winning more tackles, winning more duels, and all the technical stuff in my form came back on the back of that, and that's where Liverpool are now. Liverpool, the way they're going to get the form back is doing all the basics and the ugly stuff better.
That's why you were loved as well, though, because you knew you could see it in you how much you give for the share for the club, really. But I do think what you said there, that's the same in boxing in terms of you watch a fight back, like, you know, an older fight, and they're giving it to each other, and this fella's gone on the ropes and they're still fighting, like the Gatti Ward fight and stuff like that. That wouldn't happen nowadays. Nowadays, someone lands a clean shot and jumps again, the referee jumps in. Yeah. It's all safety and precautions. Yeah. You don't see what you seen years ago, like the Ali Frazier days, and them fights were brutal. And they were taking shots and they were gone, they were fighting back.
Longer as well, then, wasn't it? More 15 now.
It's similar to footy, though. You say about Ronaldo, Messi, or Maradona, Pele. They mightn't have lasted at the time. Maradona and Pele were there with the tackles going in, the state of the pitches, the balls and that. But they mightn't have had the speed, the fitness, the athleticism and the sports science.
I believe if you're a top boxer in one era, you probably would be in any era. Same with footballers. So, for example, Graham Souness, just plucking a name out the air, he could play in the Liverpool's midfield like that. Like that.
I don't, you know, I'm the opposite to that. Just know the times and moods and all that. Well, I watch people who were great from years ago, and I just think you wouldn't live with like the greater now.
Yeah, from a boxing
in a boxing perspective, in a boxing perspective. Do you know what I mean? Sugar Ray Robinsons and all that.
So would it be more technical now?
Yeah.
Yeah, just
the skill set goes up.
And I think,
But there is be a few. I think Sugar Ray Leonard's.
Yeah, but that's a little bit more still.
The best ever, Sugar Ray Leonard, in my opinion. Think about it nowadays. When we were kids, remember our old amateur coach coming to the gym and going, I've got a boss VHS there, there's some young kid from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's name's Miguel Cotto, wait till you see this kid. We were watching videos of Cotto when he was still just about to turn pro. Nowadays a kid goes in, presses a button, clicks, and it's on YouTube in front of them in high definition. You can see anyone and any fighter ever, if they've been filmed on YouTube and it's accessible, they should be better now.
That's where I believe, like, our generation coming through, international experience was a massive turning pro, because we travelled to countries, I'd literally go to middle touch gloves and the kid would come out and we'd go, okay, he's a southpaw, and you'd adapt at the time and you'd work it out. Nowadays these kids go into any tournament in the world, they type the kid's name in, press enter, and they've got footage and they watch him beforehand, so they're more prepared. You know
That's
what I mean?
The same as footy as well. Like some of our early game, I mean, we didn't even have DVD players. We were still putting VHSs in early doors when we were with England, DVDs, but there's no DVD of a player, you know what I mean? So
you've done a lot more yourself at the time. You'd
playing in Europe, playing against a team from Romania, for example, you'd probably have clips at best.
Technically as well with games. I've watched the game a few times. I remember watching Champions League final when United got beaten with the ball. We had to scream, we had a good night and a good drink after. But you watch a game with a player, and you've played, so you're a bit more advanced. They're 5 moves ahead of us watching the football. The same with you with the boxing. You watch your fight, it's a different fight.
Yeah, no, I'm
technically, I can't understand all this low block stuff, all the high block press and all that. I get it. I'm watching the game, but I'm watching the game
like that. I mean, all the same words and stuff were getting mentioned by managers ages ago, just different. You got a lot of coaches now in the game who are brilliant on an iPad and can blow you away with a presentation. Blind you with science and they complicate with all these big fancy words and all that, but the game hasn't changed.
We've got loads of boxing
Coaches full of that, yeah, all technical stuff, but sit down on your stool after round 9, you wouldn't want them getting in, giving you the,
I'll be dead honest with you, I think boxing's way more accessible like that. You've got fellas in coaches telling people how to fight in corners of big fights, and they're in the corner telling people how to fight, and they're clueless, where I don't think I'd have any chance of getting in a professional football club with my knowledge. I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, but you know, there is still ladders where, you know, if you blow enough smoke around the right people, sometimes it's who you know rather than what you know. You know what I mean?
It is a similar sport, isn't it?
I think that's all in any business. You know what I mean?
With the kids' football, you'd see that sometimes. A few of the kids' dads were sort of scouting and
I think
stuff.
that's something in the game that has to be really looked at, calmed down, because
You used to have initials on your coat.
No, you're mentioning your Shearers, your Rooney's, who's the best player you played with and against.
For England, it'd be Wayne and Scholes would be the best two for England, yeah. For Liverpool, it'd be Suarez and Torres. If I was pushed, it'd be Wayne for England, because just all round animal. Suarez, obviously similar for Liverpool.
Seen a couple of interviews with Wayne where he says you as well.
Does he?
Yeah.
Suarez was an animal, really.
Suarez was different, yeah. But he trained that way as well. He used to have cattle up the wall. He used to have cattle up the wall. Carrie used to say to me, look at that, Marshall, I've got a game tomorrow. I'd be like, take it easy.
You can imagine him, can't you?
I used to say, like, he just used to do stuff, you just think, oh my God, did he mean that? Did he even mean it?
Suarez,
he used to run through people.
I remember he scored against England, and our Paul's, we're going down the shop after the game, the World Cup, and our Paul's singing the Suarez song. He was one of them players, and I've hated loads for the clubs. If he's with you, you love him. Roy Keane was like that for me as a kid growing up, and I love him now after watching all the stuff he does on the
He'd be one of the best I played against. He'd be one of the best.
I've seen you say that, yeah.
He's
and
top.
Madden used to think he was good.
He might never give him the credit,
And you've got to think though to captain United and being that United
strong
team.
in a lot of departments.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean. You've got to be
fit. Yeah. Like would go start to finish. He could run past you. He could pass past you. He was strong. He was like bony, like strong, and he was physical. You know, decent profile. He had a lot. Like
playing that United team, could then when they were very good, not as long as he did, you've got to be good. That's what I mean.
Yeah, you've got prime age. I think he was around about 27, 28 when I was 19, 20. So
man, look with all of these programs now, though. Like I couldn't probably be a fan of it. Yeah, you know what I mean? He's hilarious.
Brilliant. Souness, like the players we're mentioning, are all of a similar stature and more importantly similar attitude, and it's the same attitude you had, and it's loads of that. And I think if you're a performer, a fighter, a footballer, a runner, tennis player, and best tennis players, but I love Nadal. We're watching it because he just don't.
You guarantee respect. You guarantee respect off the public if you obviously give all your heart, minimum. You know what I mean? Everyone can have a bad day, shy form. Obviously, talk about Salah's form's not there at the moment, but I think if you show heart and desire and passion, the public will go with you. They'll go with you.
I've made up hearing you saying that before about Suarez, that like you'd look at him sometimes, because me with my knowledge, I used to watch him and he'd have 4 players on him and he'd like ricochet off them and come out with the ball, and I'm looking thinking there's no way you meant that.
Yeah, but there's no way you could be lucky every day though.
That's what I mean.
Because I've seen this every day where he'd be kicking it off people and like running through them and all that, and be going, what's going on here?
Do 1-2 with himself, wouldn't he, off the player? I remember seeing that a few times.
He had like limited skill, but you should just absolutely just go past people like they weren't there, or if he couldn't go past them, he'd run through them.
He had them sayings, didn't he? He could nutmeg a mermaid.
And he never went into the treatment room once. Never, no.
Serious when commentating. I seen if you recently there was a fight. The referee was dead slow. The referee just shouted stop. He's miles away. You hit them. This is old school. The way you taught. You hit them until you dragged off them. And if how many people have hit you low? What have you done? Like so, you back to them. Yeah. The first shot's going low again. You don't bend the rules. You push as far as you can. until you know you're not going to. But that's the same in anything. Win by any means necessary. Suarez was
No,
perfect.
back in, so like when you play United, Arsenal, did you, like, obviously it's Liverpool v United, but do you still look at it like yourself v Keane, like yourself v Vieira?
Yeah, you'd always sort of check, or you'd have a good idea off the analysts who was going to be their starting 11, and they'd normally get it right. So you go into the game, you're not just focusing on the team aspect, you're thinking like a big part of the outcome of the game will be your direct opponent. But a lot of the time, it'd be different people, you know, it'd be more of a midfield battle rather than a one.
Carragher saying he used to look at it as 2 games, basically, as long as I do my half, keep a clean sheet, the other, it's like 2 separate games, like the attacking and thing, you know. But seeing that, like, you had some boss individual battles.
Jamie was brilliant at that, though, in terms of like his vocals from behind. So like, he was like the captain of all that and all the noise, and he was my eyes and ears, what was coming in behind me, because a lot of the clever players, so even though I'm direct against you, you're Keane and me, I'm thinking, how's this 10 also trying to get behind me and Jabby or whatever.
Do you think that helped you as a captain having him behind you?
Yeah, I wouldn't have been nowhere near the leader I was for Liverpool without him and Sammy, no chance.
Sammy as well, your peer, yeah. He was great to be.
So I was lucky that I had 2 behind me, you know what I mean? One really vocal and then one who was very calm.
As well, doesn't he?
Yeah, really good.
Obviously, I love listening to him. And I never thought to say it. I like Gary Neville. I'm going off him a bit recently, but he speaks sense, a lot of sense on the punditry with Carragher together. They break the football down to me, who's only just a fan.
But I do think that's because nowadays we're getting to see a bit more the personal side of them, you know what I mean? Like, as you say, Roy Keane, just seeing him looks like an eye case on the pitch. But now you're seeing the other side, someone like, baby. You know?
I've been in his company twice. I think twice. I've done 2 games with him, one for ITV, I think, and one Champions League. And like, it's different on the camera, obviously, like, you know, and then away from it, just normal, good laugh, quite funny.
Here's a question for
that was the impression I got.
On Roy Keane, that tackle he did with Haaland.
Yeah.
Do you ever regret the tackle yourself?
Oh, fucking hell. How long you got? How long you got? The Man United one after 30 seconds, that was just proper ego and frustration because I didn't start the game. That was taking frustrations out on Brendan Rodgers. And Salah's last interview, that's just pure emotion and frustration. And I've seen it with Suarez with the Arsenal stuff and when he went for Brendan. It's just like a build-up of emotion, but... Naismith was a bad one, yeah. There's quite a few. There's probably at least an handful. But looking back now, I don't like them. Do you know what I mean? I wish I'd gutted missing the games on the back of them and stuff. So that's the stuff that you can't do nowadays. You know what I mean? But not proud of them. Like, but in the moment,
it all got you to where you're at.
It is what it is.
That's the human side, though. Anyway, everyone's got regrets and everything they do. Yeah. It's just shows it's just normal, even though like a lot of time footballers put on a pedestal and stuff, and it's seen to be different from everyone else. It's the same as everyone else. You can have regrets in everything you do, isn't it?
What's been your best moments, like your best goals?
Best moments, obviously the Champions League final. I always say the feeling after winning that. A lot of relief really, because obviously you're under pressure to deliver, playing for Liverpool to win the big cups and stuff. So because we obviously didn't win a league, to get that one in was massive. The feeling and like the emotion on that was like hard to put into words.
Don't know, you feel old, mate. 21 years ago, the Olympiacos goal, innit?
You know, seen that today. Madness.
He said as soon as we come in, 21 years today, that it
flies, doesn't it?
Like that. I remember being on a bus on a roof on County Road, and you just went past on the bus, you and Cara, and you just both went on the bus, and you come for the bevy late, and like 2000, which was 20.
You got off at half time in the final, didn't you?
No, I went for a run. I said, no, I've said the story.
Don't worry, lad, I went there for the first half.
Listen, here's my point. Here's my point. I'm standing in Orries on County Road watching it. I was fighting, this was a Wednesday, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm fighting on the Saturday.
Yeah, I remember.
And I'm standing in Orries with a little small glass of water, and I've got my car outside, and I'm thinking, and at half time, Evertonians at the bar ordering champagne. I'm getting off, I'm just fucking strangling someone. Got in my car, got home in my flat, started putting my sweat kicks on. Next minute, little goal. I thought, oh, hang on. So I took my sweat kicks off. The second one went, yeah, hello, let's have a look. And then the next minute, the second one went in. Third one went in, I just drove right back up to Lorries and County Road. It's fucking
done a full John Terry, put a kit on and turned up.
Ended up in town with about 5 people on the back of the truck celebrating.
That was
one of the best nights ever, honestly. Unbelievable.
The tour on the bus and the bevy was the best bit, because obviously you're done in after the game and your phone's flying, but when you get home and it sinks in. Yeah. Unreal. But yeah, from probably 2004 to probably 9, when I played behind Torres, was probably when I felt the best. felt the best on the pitch.
How
Yeah.
good was he?
Torres.
Yeah, I loved him.
Can believe that Liverpool win.
For 18 months, but again,
The relationship with you though, wasn't it, as well?
a game, but not technically where you watch him in training and go, oh, like Coutinho's like, stay away from me because you're going to embarrass me, like, you're just a god. Torres, just power, aggression, speed, like from me, over like 5-6 yards, like, and like, if you look at Torres's build, he had nothing here. Nothing here, it's just all glutes there, and then as soon as he got you stood up, you were gone. You were gone. And that's, you know, for 18 months, he was as good as what Suarez was for Liverpool, but Suarez done it for longer and just done it in a different way. But they'd be the best two strikers that I played
I was at
with.
the match recently watching Ekatike when he had his blonde hair when he very first came. Squint your eyes, he runs like Torres.
He's got signs,
he reminds me a little bit of
yeah.
him. Not putting him on that level by any stretch yet, but
Big now, and
He's 6'4", isn't he, no?
Torres, I was watching our team play footy, I was on the line, yeah, and my phone goes, it was like a FaceTime, a number it was. So I answered it, and it was Torres, the maddest thing ever, yeah. I said, all right. And I thought, wow, weird this. But he was with Owen and Spelly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He's done it.
Yeah, he's been on the weight.
I think he backs a gym or a fitness thing.
Yeah, when he said he's got a gym in Spain, he was saying, come over and all that. He was sound on the FaceTime. Yeah.
And both of them as well, like away from the footy, two top lads, yeah. Like everyone thinks Suarez, like, oh, no, just a joker. It's a bit similar to Rooney's type of character, where joker.
Well, I loved your West Ham goal, me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just kind of reminded me, like, yeah, no, it reminded me,
you know
fucked. Don't let you just had cramp as well, or you like fucked, just had cramp and you thought, this is just getting it. You seen Rooney's one where he's arguing with the ref?
I got 2 tickets off Frank Warren. He the only one that could get me, and he got me 2 tickets. I was right on the halfway line where all of the officials and all that all were, and just literally watching it going from behind.
Yeah, I mean, we were awful on that day, really, team-wise. Obviously, Cara makes a mistake as well, and I think to myself, oh my God, he's going to do himself in if we don't turn this down. He's going to live with it for ages. So that was on my mind all game as well, thinking, we can't lose this game.
Your first goal was a belter, wasn't it?
Yeah, technically that was probably better than the first one on the side. But yeah, in terms of like all-round performances, that was probably up there with one of my best.
2006, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2006.
We just got back from the Commonwealth, me and Big Pricey. And we just come back from the Commonwealth and we said, no, we'll go out. It's like our first little, like, say out, night out type of thing. We goes out watching that. And when it went in, I was like, God, there was drinks getting through everything. It was hilarious. I was hiding behind Pricey.
that one would have hurt, that one though, because with all due respect, West Ham were great on the day, but there was a gulf in terms of where we were to them. And you lose a final, like, you can accept it if it's AC Milan, because player for player, they're miles better than us.
Should never have won that.
That would be the equivalent to losing a massive fight and you know you're well better than your opponent. You wouldn't be able to...
I find that interesting, what you just said then about pressure being Liverpool Football Club. Do you think it's down to being a scouser, or because looking at it outside in,
and also when
you should never have had pressure?
I felt it even more.
You're only 24, weren't you?
23. So when I... Basically, up until I was an apprentice, I just loved footy. Yeah. It was like a buzz. I was thinking, oh my God, I'm getting 45 to 90 quid just for playing footy. I think, sound this. I've got a pro in the post coming from fucking 500-600 quid up to $1,000 contract. I think this is sound this, but it's dead enjoyable. Used to play, and the only concern for me was, is my half fella all right, my performance there? Is my half fella's watching me? And then all of a sudden, you get around these first team players and you're playing in these crowds, and then you start going, oh my God, this is not like a hobby. This is like, this is for real. And you've got Paul Ince barking at you every time you give a pass away and all that. It becomes a different ball game. And then it was fine then until I was 23. You come in and Ule goes to me, you're the captain moving forward. I was like, oh, fucking hell. And then it started like, you start looking at all the captains, what they've won and all, and you start going, oh my God, I need to get a trophy in the bag here. So it just become a different pressure, which was I used to face it and front it, but it was different.
Because that's all I meant was, if you look at the level of the team, that team won a 05 Champions League, had no right winning it, did they really? When you look at it.
Oh, well, listen, it was a mismatch. You can see it in the first
name
half.
For name, it possibly was one.
Possibly 100 million centre, isn't it?
At half time, we're thinking of pride and respect to not be humiliated, because it could have been. I think if they came up with the same mentality as they started the game, they'd have ran away with it. for some reason they dropped off and we had that 6 or 7 minutes where it just flipped. And then you get an extra 5-10% out of all of us, but at half time, we're fucking semi-done.
Yeah. I Callum knows, we played the game at Anfield.
That's back in orders, remember, isn't that charity game?
We played the charity game, Fowler, Liverpool v Everton, Alan Kennedy and all that played, John Barnes. So
I get the ball
he
away
get the
and
ball
I just
away.
laughed. It was charity
He didn't
game.
play footy or nothing. Alan Kennedy started proper screaming at him,
When you
honestly.
get to that age though, you give a ball away, it's more running.
Yeah, he probably gave it to me. It looked so hell, all right.
So Paul Ince was brilliant. Unbelievable, John Barnes, unbelievable. But obviously they were coming to the latter stages and you don't want to run when you're in your 30s. You know what I mean? You want to keep the ball. So let me tell you, they let you know if you give a ball away. And Cara was the same. Keep that fucking ball. You're like, fucking hell, lad. Everyone would have ice all over the legs. He used to fucking ice me ears with him. Honestly.
Who did you admire the most growing up as a player?
Jamie took a shine to me. Jamie Redknapp, he used to look after me at boots and all that. But John Barnes was my hero before I got near it. More when he was a left winger and he was exciting and stuff. Gaza for England. When I sort of got round the first team, obviously Cara, Michael Owen, Danny Murphy would have been my group that I latched onto. But above that, you'd have Robbie, Stevie Mac for a little short period. We had a really good dressing room, all top lads, no ego. I wish I would have played with Robbie when Robbie was 18 to 23. I never had played with Robbie further down the line. But I stood on the cop in the main stand or wherever I could get a ticket, and it was 23 Fowler for me at the time because he was deadly in the Pumas and all that. That was
That 96 green and white kit one.
But I would have been sort of schoolboy YTS days when Fowler was
flying
hot, and then obviously Michael Owen. I come through with Michael. He jumped in quicker and went through all the ages with England quicker.
Because you're similar age, aren't you?
Yeah, he's six months older than me, but
He had a
Michael was world class. Michael was world class.
98, I think it was the 98 World Cup. We were in Mallorca, weren't we, with Mar and Dad watching it, and when he went through and scored against Argentina.
You peak at different times. I was a later developer, but the earlier developers like your Rooneys and your Fowlers, Michaels and stuff, normally they have the success earlier on in the careers or down around the middle.
I remember seeing your interview with the final where Owen scored 2 Arsenal and said thank Michael for the medal.
We're saying then about the final names after you, that was the Owen final.
So Owen did that with Arsenal. I saw his interview saying basically thanks for the FA Cup medal. How many people do you think said that about you at Istanbul?
The thing is, like, I literally didn't get a kick in that game. Honestly, I've watched the game back and think to myself, I might as well not fucking come.
The Arsenal one?
The FA Cup one, yeah, in the yellow kit. And we basically got forced into a low block by Arsenal, and it was just basically waiting for them to beat us. But if you look at their team as well, that Arsenal team was up there with the best, and they were all giants. They were all giants. There was only really Freddie Lundberg, and he was a flyer. He used to just keep running behind you, thinking, oh my God.
See, Arsenal back then and Arsenal now, obviously, Rice is standing out. I'm not saying Rice, but have you seen anyone that you think has got a lot of similarities to you since you packed in playing?
I think the whole team now, this Arsenal team, is so close to the strongest Arsenal team that we played. Yeah. Even like the size and the presence, clean sheets, the line, and then they've got a couple of people within the squad that can, create and score at any moment. So I think team-wise they're very similar. I love Declan Rice. I've been singing his praises for a long time.
He seems
I coached Villa against West Ham. West Ham before he went to Arsenal. I didn't realise how big he was because I'd never met him in person. And then obviously you get in the tunnel and you think, oh my God, that's some profile for a midfielder. If you're building a midfielder, he's got a body to die for. If you can be 6'1", 6'2", and have the legs and the power, that's the midfielder you want to be. And he was just calm in possession. He was an animal out of possession. He was up and down. And I really like him as a person as well. So I've been singing his praises for a while, but I think he's really getting into that class now where he's becoming a world-class midfielder.
Unfortunately for us at the minute, yeah.
But at
least of our worries then. I was going to say, we're not worried about him.
He's maybe one we should have tried to grab from West Ham. I don't know whether we did or not, but I think he'd have been brilliant for us. I mean, imagine him in our midfield now.
When you're saying about players that we should have signed or people they signed now, again, 4 boxes on the table. Liam will probably know the most about it because he speaks to you more than us. And how does the buying of the players go? Does the manager have a lot of say, or is it the No, I don't mean just with Liverpool either, I mean any club. Does it depend
Every
club by
club's
club?
different, and the three that I've worked for at senior level have all been different. But I think, and what I know is from the top level, is a lot of analytics now. Yeah. So a lot of numbers.
Do they only step in if the deal's like too good for the club?
No, I think what happens is the sporting director, the manager, and the owners will get round the table and they'll say, look, this is where I think the squad needs help or signings. They're the areas that I think we need to strengthen. And then the sporting director will go away. So what type of players are we looking for? You know, are we looking for a number 10 who can open the door, whatever? And then as soon as that's around the table, then they'll go away and go, well, we need to give this manager a list of 3 or 4 names, A, B, C and D. On the if we can't get A, we're going to go for B. And what's the budget?
No, on the selling side, as in like, if example, someone come in, just example, you for 100 million, and the gaffer didn't want to sell you, but the owners, could they come in and say, look, basically the money's too...
Yeah, the owners can pull rank. They're the most powerful people at a football club, without a doubt. Yeah. It could lead to friction with a manager, and a manager going, well, you know, you told me you want to keep the best players and build something special. Like, it could lead to frictions down the line. But from my experience and my knowledge, if an owner really wants to cash in, I think a manager could be helped, unless you're a Guardiola or a Klopp, where you've got the club in your hands. But
who do you think is the best manager out there now?
Good question.
In fact, I'll change the question for you and make it to the last 10-15 years just to be safe.
I think Guardiola obviously speaks for himself. I think Klopp would be in the conversation. I think Mourinho probably a little bit before that. So in my generation from 2000 to 2010, Mourinho would be the manager that you'd be like, oh, you know, don't want to play against these teams. And then before that, you know, your Wengers and Fergusons speak for themselves. Houllier would be in that conversation, but obviously maybe never got the success that them two got, but certainly respect.
And your own manager, just take stuff from managers you've worked with?
I have done, yeah. Yeah, loads.
Certain ways of...
Loads, yeah.
Do you learn from the bad as well, though? What they did wrong, you won't do now?
Yeah, but also I think the management style nowadays is completely different to us, so, you know, the air dryer treatment, or you could be really forceful and you could really go for people in the dressing room, and you just accepted it and got on with it. Like Phil Thompson would berate me if he thought he wanted to, he'd go for me, no problem, and I wouldn't like it. I'd probably give him a little bit back, but the next day it'd just be like, well, Phil, what are we doing for training? I'm not sure you can manage in that style in this day and age. I think it's a lot more man management.
Yeah. It's possibly the thing with Mourinho, like where he's always tried to sign you, just still any contact with him, Mourinho?
No contact, no, but always very respectful when we bump into each other. I've seen him at BT a couple of times. When you see him get interviewed and ask about you. It's hard because when he's on the phone and blah, 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 you know, I've never denied that it makes you feel good and wanted and loved. And then if you're with a manager that's slightly colder with you, then you get the impression you might want to cash in. That's where all the confusion came. But he's someone who I've got loads of respect for. I still think there's
stuff at the time.
What's that?
This is obviously the Chelsea stuff at the time, yeah.
But I've got no regrets with that now.
Yeah.
No regrets. The only regret I've got is the flirtation with it. Yeah. But you know, your team's not winning. You're getting a bit of a feeling from your manager where they don't want to give you a new contract. You're not a priority to get a new contract. And then you've got the best manager in the world at the time going, we're going to double your wages here, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. It's like,
do you think that's why they sing your name now whenever Trent was playing at Anfield with Madrid, or whenever Trent had come on at the end of the season when he knew he was going or something? They sing your name, don't they, out of the loyalty?
It probably is the reason why, but it's not something that I get a buzz out of. No, I'm gutted he's left. I think we miss him. I think we've become a little bit predictable, going side to side, and we're not really opening teams up where there's one pass or one bit of magic, and teams were petrified when he was on the ball. So if I had it my way from a fan's point of view, and also I've said it before, I'm not sure it was the right thing for him. I understand it and I get it.
It's a bad position, and it's our position to be in for what he was in. Like, you know,
I understand it because I've been in that position myself.
Of course. And
Madrid's not Chelsea. Madrid plays above Chelsea.
I got slated on Twitter for saying, look, as a sportsman, I can understand him. The lad wants to go and push his career. It's the biggest club probably out there, and I was like, there are rivals. Like, it's Real Madrid. Like they're over there. I can't blame the lads.
There's going to be a million different...
The way it happens is what
I respect it, understand it, but if you're playing in a Liverpool team that's winning leagues, Champions Leagues, and you're getting offered a new contract, I just think that pull would be stronger for me, but I get it.
Yeah.
Done himself no favours, the big Spanish structure there.
No, well, I
Didn't
think,
he?
well, I
Fluent Spanish, it was all like, wow.
That's what people say, don't want it. He handled it wrong, if that makes sense. So people can say that. People say he handled it wrong. People say it was the wrong decision. People are always going to have their opinion.
But look, he's a young kid. He's still obviously young. And if you go back to when you were 24, I've got loads of regrets from when I was 24. And I was lucky, you know, my brother and my dad and all the people that are around me and have been around me are all very much Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah.
Protect Liverpool. That's our team, that's our club, that's our city. In this day and age, I'm not sure, even if you're a local lad, you have that support system around you where you're getting that advice, I think. So,
you just said yourself, you'd have a game and all you wanted to see was my dad happy. And it's that respect thing, and I'm not saying this about Trent, I don't mean Trent at all, I mean other players. That respecting seems to have faded a lot with nowadays, generation. You don't see kids wanting to please their alpha and do it like we would. Was my dad happy with the performance, even though my dad wasn't a boxer? Yeah, you've got that respect, so you want to do well for your parents or for your dad or for your club or whatever. It's a lot about the individual now, isn't it? And I want to do well for me.
Yeah. But listen, I mean, I'd take him back tomorrow. as much as it hurts. As much as it hurts.
He put it on our Liam in the leaving do, to be honest with you. Liam half swallowed it. He was looking at Liam, eyeing him up and sizing up. He squeezed his arm. He said, do you reckon I'd do you in a fight?
Having a little talk about boxing and that. He's like, do you reckon I'd do you in a fight? I said, what did he say? Do you reckon I'd harder than you? I said, do you reckon I can kick a ball?
Bring your two brothers and we'll have a go.
I said, do you reckon I can kick a ball further than you? He went, no. So well, there's your answer. And then, but it's funny though, when I'm standing having a conversation here, and he's that side of me, but he just goes, yeah, I could.
Well, listen, he's a genius with a ball at his feet. Yeah, he's a genius.
Could be play a part in Salah's, like, not performing. Know what I mean? Could be.
Could be having an effect, yeah.
Obviously, you know.
But look, Salah's never had a blip in form in, what is it, 8 years, is it? And he's having a blip in form, and...
Even his worst seasons, he's had like
you're allowed to have a blip in form. I had loads, double figures, dips in form.
What age did you start, or I can't say did you, because you probably did, whether you admit it or not, because I certainly did, we all did. I think every sportsman will. What age did you start feeling like you're probably fading a little bit physically?
In terms of being an attacking number 8 or like a 10 that's running a lot, because you'd have to run a lot in them positions, I would say going into my 30s, 31, 32, probably couldn't play at that level Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday again. Yeah. But obviously Brendan dropped me back a little bit in terms of being a 6 or sitting more. I could have still played for Liverpool for another 6 months or a year, I reckon, or even had an effect from the bench. But I didn't want to be a sub for Liverpool, with all due respect behind the players that were getting selected in front of me. If it was for example, Jordan Henderson, Stroke, Milner, Gini Wijnaldum, could I have helped them 3 by coming off the bench and all that for a bit more time? Of course I could have. But the midfield at the time, with all due respect, I still felt, and I was proven on a daily basis, I was better than the players in front of me. I couldn't accept that. And I think there was a bigger picture in terms of Brendan's thinking, as to get the personality and the character a little bit moved on. But yeah, in hindsight, I would have loved to have played with Klopp for 6 months just to come off the bench, because I still could have given 15, 20 minutes when needed. You know, games are in the balance or whatever. I could have lifted the crowd probably for another 6 months.
How did you like your time in LA?
Loved it.
Some place, isn't it?
Best city in the world.
We used to go every year, training all the time, so 4 times.
I used to just take my laptop at coffee shops and just sit there and think, this is some buzz, no one's on me here. But like,
we train there years, Liam said we'd go and we'd do training there. Yeah. I remember like coming out of my hotel and walking in to get a coffee, and when you look and you go, I was going, and I looked and I went, that's him out of him. Bridesmaids, when the fella off Bridesmaids, we were just sitting there, he just looked at me and looked back down and carried on what he was doing. I was thinking, that wouldn't happen in Liverpool.
I used to go to start of every camp on my own. I used to just go, so love it, but then I remember she massive Gal Gadot. I seen her just walking in a coffee shop. I was me and Scott Craig. I said, that's the actor out of Fast and Furious. She's Wonder Woman, but I've never seen Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I've seen loads of faces there, crazy. But the reason I went to LA is obviously after the Chelsea stuff and all that, and the way Liverpool ended and all that, I was getting options to play in the Championship or go to Scotland or go to places in Europe, and I'm thinking, I just need to get away. I just need a break from the city, obviously being in the city all the time. Still feeling the Chelsea stuff a little bit, and I think I just need to get away where no one's on me. Still loved footy, still wanted to play, could still play in the MLS level. The contract was decent that they were offering me. I thought to myself, I'm just going to go away, just reset and breathe, and then sort of realise what I wanted to do next. Do you know what I mean? And like sort of qualify, do me qualifications as to be a coach. That's the reason why I went to LA.
Robbie Keane there when you were there, wasn't he?
Yeah, some man.
Canelo, you obviously went to Canelo fight to watch him, and the week before I went to LA for a few days and went up and stayed there, went to see the lads, then went over to Vegas, and the place obviously. There's megastars walking around, not really getting bothered. So when the lads are going over footballers who are huge over here, you probably have to give your name in for the coffee. You know what I mean? It's a breath of fresh air.
Jumping no cues there. Jumping no cues there. No.
Say with that being new for you.
That's a phone, Bex. Bex, get us in this club, lad.
It's some place LA though.
That's the best. We were laughing before, just sitting here having a little gab and talking about, like, obviously all of us grew up with, you know, yourself, just unbelievable memories you give all of us. And I was laughing with Paul, seeing if you remembered it. We went to match to watch it. You invited us along, and you were on the bench. Come on at half time, scored after.
Napoli.
Yeah, Napoli, I was going to say. Napoli at home, and you come on at half time, scored after, and then dropped us off after the game. We were sitting, I was like, wow, like I felt so lucky to.
That's like us, though. You probably don't realise that when we're watching you build into a fight, I'm sitting in our house going, how are they kipping? How are they sleeping? Surely they're getting a bit scared now, blah, blah, blah. And he's read. So we're fascinated a little bit on how you obviously once you go into that training, how you prefer. So the respect's mutual from the other side. Do you get what I mean? Because we play every 3 games. Probably users seeing it a lot more, but then when we see yous going, especially the world title ones, we're going, oh my god, just sitting at home thinking, I'll get the press conference on, get the build up on, you know what I mean?
That's sort of what I was trying to touch on, what I was saying, like you just sitting on the bench, and we were sitting right by, like we were behind the dugout where you was, and you just come on half time, scored at Attrich, they won 4-1, come on, let's get off as normal. But then we were laughing saying we played in the charity match, Liverpool Everton Legends game. And honest to God, right, I remember playing a 1-2 with Robbie Fowler, and I swear to God, nearly fell over. I was like, oh, nerves gone on a little charity match friendly.
I'm looking at these Jake Paul things now and all these like ex-players fighting and all that. I'm thinking, even if I knew I was going to beat
well, that was my next question. Do you need a manager? Do you fancy having one?
My body is finished, by the way. I played paddle for 90 minutes. I'm on the couch for 4 hours.
Listen, that was another
question. Mind boxing.
That was another question. He tells us he beat you in paddle.
I'm the best paddle. No, I haven't played yet. But I'm the best paddle player.
No.
Billy walks in my coffee shop full of lycra and all that with his paddle racket in his hands.
I've got all the gear as well, like. I've got all the gear. But look, it's calories, keeps the terry off, or most of it.
I need to start it myself.
Or most of it.
Boxing-wise, I always say this without sounding too sort of blowing smoke about own asses. I know a lot of footballers will respect the boxing and vice versa, the boxers football. I played that charity game with them, and Ryan Lowe was the prick was giving me the ball, going, "Go on, Smig, have a little run." I was like, passing it back to him. Me running up there with the ball, middle of Goodison Park. Now, my point is, we fight, and it might be every after a 12-week camp, probably 3 or 4 weeks, so every 16 weeks or something, I get 4 fights a year. And the nerves are there, and anyone that says they're not nervous, they're liars. You're going to be nervous, it's how you control and deal with the nerves. The footballers do it twice a week, some weeks. And as you just said before, about like nowadays with the cameras, every single move is scrutinised. You probably can't blow your nose or spit without it.
There needs to be more player care now. I think there is a top level, but I think it needs to be around all the games, because obviously mental health's out there now a lot more, and it is pressure, because
you know, do you get nerves before the game? What's different?
I used to get nervous, but like excitement nervous. I've never been scared. I was at Champions League finals was a bit different, so like struggled to sleep like the day of a game. I used to always like an hour in the afternoon, but I couldn't sleep in around the finals, and I used to go into the finals quite tired, because like mentally I'd been playing the game, leading into it.
I'm like that now the last few years now. I can't sleep the day of a fight now, whereas I used to have your dinner, have your pasta about 12 o'clock, and you're going to have a kip like 3 to 4, 5
Do you think a lot
or
though?
6.
You're like an overthinker,
Yeah.
I'm the same. So I'm
Now,
playing
my
the
last
game in my
things-
head, and then I'm yawning, then going out for the
Do you know
warm-up.
we-
This
not
is
that
the
way.
thing, when whether you if you're having the fight in your head or the game in your head, whether your brain can't tell the difference. So it fatigues you and takes it out of your nervous energy, mental energy.
When I fought in America, it felt like I was getting up in the middle of the night to go and fight. I just like didn't sleep in the day. So where it's only like 8 o'clock, leave at the venue, it felt like it was about 4 in the morning in England. Just can't.
Everything can't you? If a fight day, I'm lying in bed thinking, me ring walk, then like the fight, what you're gonna do if you stop him, knock him out, you're gonna kind of jump on the rope, or you're gonna, honestly, and then
It's
what
the
you're gonna
same
say in
with
your
footy.
interview, if
Same
you're
with
gonna
footy.
mention a name to call out, or just there's that many things that run through your head. It's hard
I think
to
with
switch
footy,
off,
obviously
innit?
you're playing Wednesday, Saturday, like does it become a bit more like autopilot, yeah? Or is it still like,
Yeah, and like for it becomes more autopilot, like game to game. But then when the big ones come, the Champions League night, when there's a bit more juice in it and all that, you know, it's a bit
You know,
more
now
stress.
with like coaching, we say to the fighters, we have a routine because obviously we've been there ourselves. So we train every morning, and all of a sudden you're fighting at 10, half 10 at night. So you have to sort of get your body clock adjusted a bit. So on fight week, you sort of try and stay up late, start get your body awake. If you're going to do your runs, go out running overnight and stuff, and start to like get acclimatised to go time in the evening rather than in the mornings. So day of a fight is where, if you can, you try and have a doze in the day. So when you get in them changing rooms, you're wide awake and you're ready to go.
Fine, yeah.
Nothing worse than being in the changing rooms.
Same as a night game, yeah. You try and have a dose, minimum 45 an hour, or try and get 2 in. And then you feel, night games are the best because if you get that kipping in the day, you just feel
You're
like
wide
a
awake.
caged animal.
I was going to
Yeah.
ask you that, have you ever got in the changing rooms and yawned and thought, oh, tired
Well,
here? What did it happen?
around the bear for the kids and stuff. Yeah, that FA Cup final was just after Lexi were born and stuff. And I was like,
documentary.
the morning of the game, I'm phoning me half like going to myself, oh my God, I'm weighed in here. I just bladdered the carbs for the last few hours and just grinded it out, but didn't feel great at
Did you
all
ever play
physically.
sick?
No.
Did you ever play sick under the weather?
Yeah, and even sort of when you get back from a sickness, you're still wiped out for 2-3 days, and you go and train, and then you're just like, just dead. It's all the same feelings, innit?
Even if I used to turn up late here now, my head would go walking in. Yeah. Yeah, I fight in front of loads of people. Yeah, but if I like walk in a place,
He
and
walks
they're
in a
all
coffee
staring
shop,
at
he's
me
got
and
his
I go
phone in his
to
hand,
bed.
he's not on the phone. And he
blagging
pretends, yeah, he just blags in.
You can only say sorry though, can't you?
Yeah. Like I just like walking into the place, loads of people.
He's horrible. I was going to say Gerrard, nothing, just like...
I would say that from afar. I'd say that from afar that he'd be the laid back one.
Who do you think's the angry one?
The moaner. The moaner.
I do think it's that, it's comfortability, isn't it? As you say, you can walk out Champions League final and be like buzzing about it, whereas we went out in a friendly game, bottle gun, where flip it obviously in a fight. I used to laugh that with the kids who's going to watch our Frankie play football, under 7s or something, and I'd be laughing with them saying, put a ring in the middle. Any of the parents would jump in with them gladly and have a little fight, not a problem. But if you'd asked me to be like to go on and play footy against the dad,
I've done it loads of times, like had to do certain things as the captain and stuff, and thought, oh my God, and then you just start sweating and all that, and you think, oh my God, because you're not used to doing that, you're not trained to do that, you're not comfortable doing it, out your comfort zone, but you've got to do the things you've got to do around it, haven't you? That's
When are we playing paddle?
Whenever you want it. I'm away till Thursday, but
YouTube,
available
yeah,
Friday
get on the
onwards.
YouTube channel, innit?
Available. Bring the cameras down.
Right. Thanks for coming, we appreciate you coming down.
Sam?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Good luck with it, right? I hope you smash it.
Thanks a lot.